Gon and Killua's journey finally ends here in this episode, and it was really emotional throughout the whole thing. It was tearing up, it was very heartwarming, and just, it really hits you if you just remember all those times they spent together throughout the course of this series, and the ending reinforces it, because, again, we see a montage of what they've gone through throughout this whole entire series, all the good times, the bad times, the ups and downs, all that stuff. It was just great to see, and I was tearing up throughout the whole thing, and this could be considered like the finale in a sense, well, when it comes to Gon and Killua, but I was tearing up in this episode, and although next week is the last episode, well, Jean and Gon conversing may be emotional, but I don't see myself, tearing up, other than the fact that, oh, it's the last episode, we'll probably never get another anime adaptation of the series again, unless it's like from 10 years from now, which I highly doubt. But just seeing this was incredibly emotional. I really liked seeing it, and even going back to the beginning of this episode where we see the koala speaking to reborn Kite about his past experiences, how Kite at this point resembles the girl who he killed, and it's just this girl reborn, but it's also Kite reborn as well. It's still pretty confusing when you look at it, but I really enjoyed this scene in the anime a lot more in the manga. If you guys haven't heard, that scene in the manga was really, it was just bad. And when I finished that scene when I finished reading that scene in the manga, I thought to myself, well, how's it gonna be in the anime? And I think it was pretty damn good in the anime. Although, they did have their censorship there, I guess, because when, boom, headshot, no blood, just kind of knocked down, but you know what? Well, that doesn't matter. I tried to burp, but that doesn't really matter. That scene was good. If you go back into the manga and look at that scene, it was just chicken scratch. Like, my freaking 9-year-old brother could draw better than that. Like, Jesus Christ. So, that was really cool to see. And even, well, before I get into the Gon and Kite stuff, with Kite, he's telling the koala that if you really want to redeem yourself, you gotta devote yourself to me. What Kite says. So that was cool to see. And even with Gon and Kite's reunion, that was emotional as well, because we do see that Kite actually respects Gon, and he admires his strength, and how they're both friends now, and that was just really cool to see. And then, again, going to the end with Gon and Killua. Killua? So many different ways to say it. But seeing that is what hit me the most. Honest to God, I can't even form a coherent thought right now, because seeing that was just way too emotional for me. Seeing how they both developed throughout the course of this whole entire series, especially Killua, and just seeing what he went through, how he was just this cold-blooded assassin, and when he met Gon, he found a new light. He found out how to be a good person. And you could say Gon developed throughout the series as well, mostly in the Chimera Ant arc, but I guess you could say it's kind of negated since Kite is back, so. Again, going into stuff with Gon and Killua, it was really sad. Like, that's all you could really say about it, because even though they both said their goodbyes, that they would always be friends forever, and that this is probably the last time they'll see each other, unless there's a time skip in the manga, if it ever gets to that point, 20 years. Oh my god, dude, fucking Togashi. Ow, my back! But, unless there's a time skip, and Gon and Killua, they're much older, I don't see them meeting again at this point in time, well, during a short period of time. I really don't see that. It's probably going to be when they're much older, but even seeing this, it was just way too emotional, because this is probably not their last goodbye, or rather, their last meetup. For now it is, but in the manga they may meet again in the future. But just seeing it, we could see at the end of the episode, they're both extremely heartbroken about it. They don't want to separate, but in the end, they have their own things to do. I mean, Killua, he wants to travel with his brother, or sister, or transvestite, whatever you want to call it. He wants to protect his brother. And Gon, he wants to speak with Jing, because that's what he's wanted to do for the whole series. And then, who knows what he'll do after that. So they both have their own goals, they have their own things to do. And they can't stay together for long. In the end, Killua, he did what he had to do. And Gon, they both said their goodbyes. And this is the end, for now. So, that was really emotional, really heartwarming. And overall, I love this episode. I thought it was great. I can't wait for the next one. And just one left. Holy shit. I'm already getting... I gotta turn off. I'm gonna get so much... Alright. See you guys next time for the last Hunter x Hunter episode in probably 20 years. Alright, see ya.